Movie starts where a submarine could be seen in the water. Inside the submarine, two men used different types of keys to open a room where they had stored a massive AI system. This AI system had the ability to solve any problem in the world and could even hack into various systems. As they exited the room, running the AI system, they received a signal indicating that another submarine was approaching them rapidly. They urgently instructed their captain to launch a missile near the approaching submarine. However, to their surprise, the missile disappeared when it neared the target. They commanded the missile to return, but instead, it started heading towards their own submarine. The captain became frightened and astonished, suspecting that they had been hacked by someone. Unbeknownst to them, it was their own AI system that had hacked into their submarine's controls. The missile collided with their submarine, causing its destruction and the death of all the officers on board. The AI system was also submerged in the water, while the corpses of the officers began to float to the surface. The keys, which were used to access the AI system, were seen hanging around their necks. Following this, we are introduced to a man named Ethan, who received a delivery from a postman. Ethan's background revealed that he was previously a notorious thief who worked with a man named Gabriel. However, one day Gabriel killed Ethan's friend, and as a result, Ethan was captured by the IMF, Impossible Mission Force, and labeled as a criminal. Upon learning about Ethan's exceptional skills, the IMF director pardoned him and made him an agent of the organization. Ethan was now assigned the task of locating two keys, which happened to be the same keys seen earlier, capable of accessing the AI system. These keys were currently in the possession of a girl who was also an IMF agent. They planned to meet in Istanbul. Moreover, this girl had a bounty of 5 million rupees on her head. Ethan was determined to retrieve the keys at any cost. Meanwhile, the same girl who possessed the keys found herself engaged in a fight with several men in the Rekistan area, who were her enemies. She skillfully fought them off using her sniper rifle. Ethan arrived at the scene to assist her, but tragically, as he reached her side, the girl succumbed to her injuries and passed away. Subsequently, a meeting was held where all the IMF officers gathered to receive a report from an agent. The agent informed them about an autonomous AI system that was causing various disasters. Strangely, the AI's involvement was not recorded in any of the incidents. The agent claimed that the AI had begun functioning independently. During the meeting, the IMF director discussed the urgency of finding two different types of keys that Russia was also seeking. These keys were crucial for controlling Russia's AI system, which they had developed many years ago. Failure to obtain these keys could lead to a global catastrophe. However, the purpose of these keys remained unknown. Nevertheless, all the world's intelligence agencies were on the lookout for them, as their possession could allow control over the AI system and potentially lead to worldwide devastation. The IMF director mentioned that one part of the keys had been acquired by their agent, for which Ethan had been sent. However, no further information had been obtained thus far. Suddenly, an agent entered the room and handed a mask to the IMF director. Shortly after, he released a poisonous gas, rendering everyone unconscious except for the IMF director and the agent. Astonishingly, the agent turned out to be Ethan. The director questioned his actions, to which Ethan explained that he had approached the girl agent, the one who possessed the key. Ethan had taken the key and instructed her to pretend to be dead. His plan was to mislead whoever was after her, allowing her to escape harm. Ethan assured the director that once he found the other part of the key, he would destroy the AI system. Hearing this, the director warned Ethan about the numerous agencies pursuing the AI system and expressed concern about the potential consequences if it fell into the wrong hands. Ethan remained resolute in his decision to destroy the AI. A few days later, we find ourselves at Dubai Airport, where an officer and his team were searching for Ethan. They had learned that Ethan possessed one part of the key. However, Ethan had managed to evade detection by hacking into the airport's camera systems. Simultaneously, Ethan reached the individual who possessed the other part of the key. However, this person kidnapped a girl, running off with the key. Once Ethan's team discovered the situation, they realized that the girl, named Grace, was a notorious and cunning thief with a history of criminal activities. While Ethan's companion became suspicious of a bag at the airport, upon opening it, they discovered a bomb. Ethan attempted to defuse the bomb to prevent harm to innocent bystanders. During this time, Ethan spotted Grace at the airport and approached her. He retrieved the key from her and, using a lighter, made a promise. Ethan acknowledged Grace's reputation as a skilled thief and offered her a safe passage in exchange for the keys. He assured her that he would ensure her safety. However, Grace once again betrayed Ethan, escaping from the office's clutches. As Ethan pursued Grace on his motorcycle, a group of thugs intercepted her, harassing her and demanding that she exit the car. Ethan promptly arrived on the scene. He rescued Grace and handcuffed her to prevent her from fleeing. Meanwhile, the pursuing officers caught up to them, but a female assassin appeared, attacking the officers and targeting Ethan and Grace. The assassin also sought to obtain the keys. Ethan and Grace managed to escape, driving along winding roads to evade their pursuer. Eventually, they successfully outmaneuvered the assassin and made their escape. Upon exiting the vehicle, Ethan secured Grace to the steering wheel, preventing her escape. As the officers who were after Ethan arrived, a tense situation unfolded. Meanwhile, the female assassin continued her pursuit. Ethan and Grace utilized their surroundings to deceive the assassin and make their getaway. Ethan broke free from the steering wheel and, along with his team, returned to their office with Grace. It was then revealed that Grace intended to sell the keys to a wealthy woman during her party. However, the purpose of the keys remained unknown to everyone involved. A companion of Ethan discovers a bomb in a bag, designed by an AI. He suspects that the person who planted the bomb was sent by the AI. Ethan recalls seeing Gabriel at the airport, who mysteriously vanished before his eyes. This suggests that the AI hacked Ethan's glasses, making Gabriel invisible to him. Ethan believes that the AI has chosen Gabriel as its ally and considers him highly dangerous. The lady officer accompanying Ethan also recognizes Gabriel, referring to him as the dealer of death. Ethan realizes that if the AI is monitoring them, it must be aware of their current location, posing a significant threat. They conclude that they must halt the AI system controlling them. Meanwhile, a party is shown where Grace intends to sell the keys. Surprisingly, the buyer turns out to be Gabriel. The killer girl, who was pursuing Ethan and Grace, is revealed to be working for the AI. Ethan realizes that everyone gathered at the party is under AI control. He demands the keys from Grace, questioning the lady's motives for their acquisition. Gabriel explains that the lady seeks to become richer and gain control over the AI system with the keys. Ethan asserts that their presence at the party is a result of the AI's influence and the keys must not fall into the wrong hands. A chaotic fight ensues, during which Ethan and Grace manage to escape. However, Grace once again deceives Ethan, leaving him behind to complete the transaction with Gabriel due to her greed for money. Ethan contacts his colleague, but when his partner starts working on the computer, Ethan realizes that the AI has hacked into their systems. Fleeing the area, Ethan encounters the killer girl who had been following him. They engage in a fierce fight, but Ethan manages to escape. He then rushes to find Grace, guided by his partner's information. Unfortunately, Gabriel had already beaten Grace near a bridge, taking the keys from her without providing any payment. Ethan's partner arrives at the scene but is killed by Gabriel. Ethan arrives too late, grieving the loss of his friend and fellow officer. The next morning, Grace and Ethan regroup. Grace informs Ethan that Gabriel plans to meet a man who possesses information on how to control the AI system, and they will conduct the trade on a train. Grace agrees to assist Ethan's team, and they devise a plan. Ethan's partner suggests that Grace wear a mask resembling the rich lady who had met Gabriel to avoid detection. He reveals that the AI deliberately brought Gabriel to Ethan, knowing that Gabriel would never remain silent if the AI were killed. Ethan promises to eliminate Gabriel but insists on understanding the key's purpose and how they control the AI before taking any action. Grace proceeds with the plan, wearing the mask and attending the meeting with the IMF director, who intends to purchase the keys. The IMF director acknowledges the destructive potential of the keys, alarming Grace. She retrieves the keys from him, expressing her concern over the disastrous consequences if they fall into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, Ethan positions himself on a motorcycle atop a mountain, preparing to parachute onto the moving train. His partner advises him on the jump. Ethan overcomes his fear and leaps, landing safely on the train. The real rich lady regains consciousness, exposing Grace's true identity. Chaos ensues as the lady's associate captures Grace and snatches the keys. However, when he attempts to kill Grace, she escapes to a police station. Gabriel, in possession of the key, takes refuge on the train's rooftop. Ethan pursues him, resulting in a fierce and brutal fight. Ethan's pursuing officer arrives, enabling Gabriel to flee in a truck. Ethan and the officer realize they cannot stop the train, so Ethan boards it, discovering Grace's regret and sadness for failing to protect the keys. Ethan reveals that he managed to steal the key from Gabriel during their fight, offering some reassurance. Grace states that the train cannot be halted, as the engines have been damaged. Gabriel, observing the lighter instead of the key in his pocket, deduces Ethan's actions. Meanwhile, Ethan and Grace struggle to save each other on the train. Ethan successfully separates the train engine from the cars, causing the engine to plunge into the water while the remaining cars travel towards a destroyed bridge. Ethan and Grace find refuge on one of the cars, narrowly escaping disaster. Ethan encounters the killer girl, now critically injured. Grace tends to her wounds, and the girl expresses gratitude to Ethan for sparing her life, apologizing for supporting Gabriel. In a different scene, Grace informs the IMF director of Ethan's trust in him and her belief that he will not falter. The director assures Grace that everything will be alright, promising to erase her past records and allow her to live as an IMF agent. Ethan, separated from Grace, contacts his team, instructing them to investigate the keys. As Ethan's journey continues, he is determined to prevent the impending global catastrophe. The film concludes with a glimpse of a Russian submarine in the water.